All right, so here's the continuation of our videos. Let's check your work. For number 3, I think you should have gotten as your quotient 3y minus 19. That was your quotient. And then the remainder was 89y plus 35. And the answer key is online if you didn't get that and you want to try and find where you made your mistake. But I think that's the correct answer there. Quotient 3y minus 19, remainder 89y plus 35. And then for number 4, there were a bunch of fractions on this one. It was kind of ugly, but that's okay. We still allow it. Quotient was 3x squared minus 3 halves x minus 1/4. And remainder, I think, was just 3 1/4 or 13/4. You got it as a fraction. Okay, so quotient and remainder was that. All right, if you, again, answer key is online, so if you made a little mistake, my guess is it's probably with distributing that negative and subtracting off that second line. That's usually where we make our mistakes. Okay, so long division, while it's so fun, and I know you guys really enjoyed doing those problems, there is another way to divide polynomials. So if you go on to the next page, there is the method called synthetic division. Okay, now synthetic division is going to be a lot easier, but it's only going to work if, and it didn't show up on here for some reason, sorry about that. Synthetic division may be used to divide polynomials whose divisors are of the form, this is a really important part of it, x plus or minus a. So it needs to be what's called a linear binomial. That's the only time we can use synthetic division. So what do I mean? It means it has to be something like this in the denominator. See that denominator of x minus 3? That means I can use synthetic division. So if I go back to these examples, for number 1, x minus 3, I could have used synthetic division. But for number 2, if I'm dividing by this trinomial that's quadratic, I cannot use synthetic division there. Also for this one, dividing by y squared plus 5, can't do it there. Okay, this one I could because this is a linear binomial. I would have to kind of rewrite it a little bit, but it would still work. Okay, so it has to be of that format where it's just a binomial and linear. Okay, of that format x minus 3. So like all these ones at the bottom, notice I'm dividing by x minus 5, x plus 1, x minus 4, x minus 2, x plus 4, x plus 5. Those will all work for synthetic division. Okay, and it's definitely going to be faster, less dealing with letters. It's just about the coefficients, so you don't have to worry about like x cubes and x squareds and lining up. You don't have to distribute that negative or any of that stuff. So I do think most people like this a little bit better. Let me walk you through the steps. So for example, if we have x cubed plus 2x squared minus 4, we're dividing by x minus 3. Step 1, write down the coefficients of the dividend and the root of the divisor. All right, so this one on top is my dividend, and this is my divisor. So I write the coefficients of the dividend. So what are my coefficients? Well, there's a 1 there, but notice, here, hold on a sec. Let's rewrite. This is my dividend, right? X cubed plus 2x squared minus 4, but I am missing here an x term. So I still need placeholders to fill in any missing places. So make sure, write a note to yourself, right? I still need placeholders, okay, for zeros. All right, so coefficients. So my coefficients are 1, 2, 0, and negative 4. So those are my coefficients. And then I have to do the root of the divisor. What does that mean? It just means change the sign. So the root is what would make this equal to 0. So it's basically like you're solving it. And so its root is positive 3. So I write down the root of the divisor out here, and then I do this line. Some people draw it a little differently depending on how your teacher showed you. You might have done something a little differently, but that's how I draw them. So that my root of my divisor is out here. I changed the sign. It was x minus 3. I changed it to positive 3. Okay, now I go through my steps. So they're pretty easy. bring down the first number, so 1 comes straight down. Next and these steps just repeat. Multiply, add, multiply, add, multiply, add. So here we go. I'm going to take the 1, multiply it times 3. I get 3. Then I'm going to add it. 2 plus 3 is 5. Then I'm going to multiply again. I get 15. Then I'm going to add it. 0 plus 15 is 15. And then I'm going to multiply. 15 times 3 is 45. Then I'm going to add it. And I get 41. This last number right here is always your remainder. And then this row is going to represent the coefficients of the quotient. And it's always going to go in order. So this will be, like it starts here, this 15 is my constant term. Then 5 will be my linear term, so that's going to get an x next to it. And then 1 will be my quadratic term, which will be x squared. Because I had those placeholders, it's just going to go up by 1 degree each time. And so this is my quotient. And we're done. No long division necessary. You've got your quotient, x squared plus 5x plus 15, and your remainder of 41, and we're done. Okay, so it's much quicker. It's also you don't have to deal with all the negatives because you're just adding and multiplying, adding and multiplying. So synthetic division is a lot of fun. Let's practice a couple and see how we do. All right, so number 1, remember, take the root, so change the sign, so it'll be positive 5 on the outside, and then I have to do coefficients, so 1, negative 6, and negative 2. Those are my coefficients, right? Bring down the 1, multiply, add, multiply, add. All right, I was multiplying every time. Negative 7 is my remainder. Negative 1 is the constant. This one gets an x, so x minus 1 is my quotient. And I'm done. That's how easy these are. Okay, I'll do one more with you. So for number 2, I'll do number 2. Remember, change the sign. Becomes negative 1. Coefficients, 4, negative 1, negative 5. Bring down your first number, 4. Multiply, negative 4. Add, negative 5. Multiply, positive 5. Add, I get 0. So this one ended up having a remainder of 0. Put the x on there. 4x minus 5 is my quotient. Okay, take a couple minutes and try the next ones, and then I'll check your answers. So go ahead and try those. I'm going to let you keep working, but as you finish one, look up and check your answers. So I'll go ahead and put the answers on here as you're working. Don't forget placeholders. All right, answers to 3 and 4 are up. Give you a couple more minutes to work on 5 and 6. All right, and answers to 5 and 6 are also up, so you can check your work now. And that's it. Just remember, the only time you can use synthetic division is if you're dividing by that linear binomial. Otherwise, you have to do long division. If you're dividing by a quadratic or a cubic or anything bigger than a linear term, you have to do long division. Okay, so when we use this in the actual stuff that we're going to start next class with graphing, you're going to get to pick, right? Like, do I do synthetic or do I do long division? It's totally personal preference. What you pick, you could do long division every time if you want. It does work for everything. But again, for synthetic, you can only do it if you're dividing by that linear binomial. All right, and that's it. So good luck. Work on your homework, and we are all done.